Managing Those Pennies, brought to you with the good wishes of Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
That's right. It's time to get you in the know with managing your pennies. Here with us is Crystal Howell. Season's greetings.
Good morning. Hopefully you had a wonderful Christmas.
I did. I see we're still in the spirit of
It's a
Christmas, the 12
season.
days.
It's a season. Again, like Tisha said, there's a season. It's a season. And I quite enjoyed the article in one of our local newspapers from the Reverend Dr. Marcus Lashley yesterday, where he focused on that and
Yes.
talked about us really embracing it and not just thinking about just the food and, that kind
I
of
thought
thing.
a lot about food.
Shameless.
No shame.
Did you cook?
After Christmas, I did.
That's a no.
Look at the smile, though.
Yeah.
That means that it was all good anyway.
It was. After Christmas, I did a huge pot of soup for all and sundry to share, and it was a wonderful time.
That's
Was there a
good.
ham bone
It
available?
was a ham bone in the soup.
That makes it very special.
There you go.
Some people
Excellent.
keep that ham bone for a little bit. But speaking of holding on to the ham bone for a little bit, you can think of that ham bone as like the money that you want to be able to watch grow and see make things wonderful, for 2020. So we're talking about setting some of those goals.
Yes.
We've had some really good sessions this year with you.
Yes. So to recap, as we usually do, we would have been discussing for months now how to set up our budgets. We have our Excel spreadsheet. We've hopefully been tracking all of our expenses and our spending habits. We've had about 7 months to do that. And if persons have been tracking by now, you'll be seeing your patterns and identifying where you can do better and how you can make sure that you're keeping on budget. So with all of the tracking we've been doing, we would have either identified that we are comfortable, we can make do with the income that we're earning, or we've realized we need to go into another venture. If we have the ability to invest in some passive income, we've been doing so. If the interest that we've been earning from the passive income is not enough, we started the discussion about how to start your own business, your small ventures, and we've been going into how we can make those small ventures grow.
Right.
And then we did a brief discussion about loans for those persons who would go about getting that form of capital to help their businesses to grow, how to be careful about what you do when you get a loan, how you manage that, and the things you should be looking out for and how we make sure we repay them. So now that we have accumulated all of this data and we will be continuing those conversations into the new year, we want to make sure, because this is the time when everybody looks to set their resolutions, their goals, how to make sure that they evolve as a person into 2020. And 2020 seems to be very significant for a lot of people, but we will be looking at how we can set SMART goals for 2020.
All right, let's get into that. What are some of these SMART goals that we can set for 2020? Starting, of course, with where we are managing those pennies. What's realistic and what's not?
So funny you should mention realistic. That's one of the letters in the acronym. So the SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound or timely. So we'll be going through each one and we'll be discussing how this can relate to finances. And many times the advice given can relate to other aspects of your life. So you just use these as a way to be able to give yourself a holistic perspective on what you want to be going into for 2020. So we're looking at specific. And many times people say they want to save money. It's very arbitrary. There's nothing really giving you something to stand on. And many times you lose focus of that goal. So the first thing you want to do, and this is going to be a mix of both things that you will find in your textbooks, but also things that I found worked for myself, you have to set a vision. What is it that you are going to be saving for? So if you want to have that nice home or that new car, or you want to send your children to school, you want to make sure your family is taken care of, you have to have that vision in your mind, and it has to become so realistic to you that you can almost reach out and touch it. So if you've been dreaming about making sure you could save enough money so that you could further yourself in terms of education, what does that look like to you? what does that life look like to you? And it has to be something that you connect to emotionally, because you are going to come up with a lot of obstacles that are going to take you off of the path. You're going to have old habits. You're going to have lots of things taking you away from that goal, because you will be changing from what is comfortable to what is uncomfortable.
You're going to have life. Life
Everything.
happens.
Everything happens. So if you don't have that vision, and that vision becomes something so real for you, everything is going to sidetrack you, and your 2020 goals are not going to be any different to the 2019, 18, 17.
That didn't happen.
Exactly. Exactly. So if you're going to say, I want to save for my education, imagine yourself with those letters behind your name or that piece of paper, and what your life is going to look like, how it's going to make a difference to your career, if it's going to make your financial goals that much easier to achieve. Start imagining it so that you start to stick on to that. And when we say specific, we want to say, if you know that the university, for example, because the university is not the only way to educate yourself, but it's one of the ways. If you know that that is something that's going to be a 5-year program, a 3-year program, you know that by the year 2023 or 2025, you want to have this particular goal achieved. And when you set that timeline and you start to be specific, you start to work backward from there. And now this is a 5-year plan, but you don't just say, I'm going to get a 5-year plan and you just, whatever happens, happens. You have to set mini goal posts. And this is what I do for myself, even when I am exercising, especially if I'm running long distance. Anybody who's run around the gymnasium, I don't know how many of you are able to just imagine yourself at the very end. But for me, I say, okay, I'm going to run from here to the light post.
And when you get to the light post, can't stop.
Can't stop. You just keep tricking yourself.
It's true.
And eventually you get there. But
It's
if
true.
I ever in my head tell myself I'm going to run
all
around,
the way around, never happens.
I'm not going to do it.
Never happens.
Wow.
It's true.
That's how it is.
Same applies for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, especially if I'm running on the highway, I would say, okay, 2 more lamp posts. And when you get there, okay, I can go further.
Let me see how much
Further I can go.
That's how it works.
So
And money is no different. Money is no different. If you say that you want to save $50 by the end of the week, you can't think of it as $50 or however often you will get your finances. If you told yourself, I have to save $2,000 by the end of the year, $2,000 feels like a lot of money. But if you brought that down, I should have said $2,400 because my math is so poor.
well, we are counting on you to make to have it right, huh? I can't help you there.
But if we say that we're going to save $200 a month or $20 a week or however much, it feels a lot more
achievable
than if you said you wanted to save $2,400 at the end of the year. So even though that is the goal you have in your mind for the long term, 5 years from now, a year from now, however often, you have to then work backwards to give yourself these little mind tricks.
Okay, that's a good one. Let's pause here. We're going to come back and talk some more with Crystal Howell. She is a chartered professional accountant, certified internal auditor. Crystal Howell, we are managing those pennies with the help of the Republic Bank.
Managing Those Pennies, brought to you with the good wishes of Republic Bank. We're the one for you.